Hey, runners, happy Wednesday, November 22nd. It's Thanksgiving week with Thanksgiving here in the States tomorrow on Thursday. Happy Thanksgiving to all. Today's vlog is basically going to be a recap of the Philadelphia Half Marathon that I completed over the weekend on Saturday. My wife and I took a trip out to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We went last week on Thursday and got back Monday night. Had some time to kind of think about things and wanted to recap on how that race went and overall thoughts on that. So first of all, I completed. I believe this is my 19th half marathon. I have been keeping track for a while, so pretty close to 20. And this is the medal. You can see it has a bell for the Liberty Bell. Yep, kind of annoying, right? No, sounds like a cat with the bell, but yeah, very cool medal that we received. So, as far as the race is concerned, it wasn't my best race by far. It was a challenging day. Particularly the weather played a factor. Um, so I'll go into that. But first, let's start in the beginning. We got in Thursday late afternoon, early evening, settled into the hotel. And then on Friday, we went to the expo, which when we first got there, the security lines were just wrapped around building. I mean, it was nuts. I didn't think we were ever going to get in there, but probably within 5-7 minutes we got in. And you know, it's your typical expo for a large race. I believe there was close to 15,000, 15,000 for the half, and about the same for the full marathon the next day. And went there, picked up my packet, and you know, went back to the hotel and rested a little bit, and then so my race is the half marathon, and that was Saturday. My wife did the full marathon um, on Sunday, and there was also an 8K after my race. I believe it was 11 a.m. So there was an 8K and a half marathon on Saturday and a marathon on Sunday. So going into this, tracking the weather, see how things are going to be for the half marathon. The weather was looking like low 50s, which isn't bad. A little warmer than I thought, but comfortable. However, I was tracking the winds, and 4 days out from the race, it showed that there was going to be a little bit of a wind, but possibly a chance of rain, which it never rained at the start of the race, but overnight, like I think 1, 2, 3 o'clock, it did rain a little bit because the streets were wet. That would have made it worse. Um, so I was expecting to face some winds, and sure enough, when I got there, um, got to the security check-in. I went into my bus, my shuttle bus, which was really convenient. I mean, just literally steps away from the hotel, which is only a mile from the start, but it took about 10 minutes by bus. Anything to stay warm. So I took the bus and got there about, quarter till 10 till 6. Hung around the security or inside the checkpoint by the gear drop UPS vans. And then about 6:25, dropped off my gear. So I was in my racing kit, if you will, and made my way to the corral, which I was in black. The corral in front of us was maroon, and then the pros in front of that. So, I was in the top two corrals, and it was getting a little windy at like 6:30, 6:45, and then when we stood there a few minutes before the race started, a big gust of wind came, and it never really let up during the race. So um, definitely not make an excuse, but anyone who's run or raced in the wind knows that it's a challenge. And of course, you just have to accept the challenge and do the best that you can. For those of you who don't know, my goal for this race was, like 152. I think I said 152, 15, 152, 30. And if it was a great day, sub 152, which didn't happen. Excuse me, which did not happen. But I'll kind of take you through it. When the gun went off, I was looking to settle in. My pace would be between 8:30 and 8:35 to hit my target. The first mile, you know, we're going a little slower. There's quite a lot of people that is, which is actually a good thing because it forces you to not to go out too quick. And so, we were running in the downtown or city center of Philadelphia, beautiful, historic buildings and modern buildings all around, which was nice. And the spectators was incredible. I've never raced Boston, but I've been a spectator at Boston. It kind of felt like that. I know it's not the same comparison, but the spectators, I mean, they were lining the streets, and which really helped. And so, thank you to all the spectators who came out. If you were one of them, really appreciate you being out there and cheering for all of us. It definitely helped, and we had our names on our bib as well. So people were calling out my name, and you know if you've ever raced with a bib that actually has your name on there, because you can put your name on it um, when you're registering, so it was on there. It gives you kind of like an extra bolt. People see when you're struggling and they say, "Go, Pete," and you pick it up a little bit and you give them a thumbs up. It really helps. So that was nice. So first, I've got my splits here that I'll go over. Like I said, 8:30, 8:35 was the target. First mile was 8:46. I was feeling, yeah, like okay, it's a little slower, but I feel good. Second mile was 8:22. Third mile 8:24. Fourth mile 8:30. So right there, those 1, 2, 3, 4 miles, I'm running like an 8:35 ish or so pace. 8:33 around there, still on target, not worried at all. Trying to remember how the course ran. Mile 4, we were having a little. At times we'd have crosswind, other times to our back, and then headwind. Early beginnings or goings, it was either to our back or a slight crosswind, so it wasn't too bad, but you can definitely feel it. We knew what we were in for down the road. Then at mile 5, 6, 7, I ran 8:49, 8:46, and 8:21. So the 8:49, 8:46 had some wind, but not too concerned. I ran 8:21 on that 7th mile. And let's see what that, after the 7-mile mark, what I was averaging. So after 7 miles, I was averaging 8:34, which I was still on pace, not worried. Then the 8th mile, I hit 8:59, and then it just got slower from that point. Because at mile 8, from what I recall, actually it's mile 7 as we're heading west, we're getting a crosswind, and it's pretty strong. I looked at the temperature, the winds after the race, and it said that the winds from 7 to basically 9 o'clock during my race was starting out like 15, 20 miles an hour constantly, to 25, and then gusting to like 30, 32 miles an hour. So we definitely felt that. Mile 7, we're heading west again, like I said, a little crosswind, and then I guess about 7.5 or so, that's when we could really feel the wind. So that 8th mile, I had 8:59, and then it was 9:35 for the 9th, and then 10, 11, 12, 13 was 9:40, 10:03, 9:32, and the 10th mile at 10 minutes. My actual distance was 13.28, getting some water here and there, so a little longer than 13.1. But I finished in a time of 2 hours and 16 seconds, which was a 9:10 pace, which I have run lots of long runs at 9:10, feeling pretty good. This was total opposite. Um, I was, on target for the first 8 miles at 8:37, so just over half, still within reach, but I was feeling tired, starting to get a little bit out of breath with fighting the wind. My quads were sore, which I attribute that to not having as much of a strength training regimen, which is my fault. I knew that with the last couple of weeks going into it, saying that this is probably an area, most likely an area that I should have worked on even more so. So I could definitely feel the legs. I should feel maybe a little bit out of breath, but the legs shouldn't have felt as tired or sore. There were the course itself. There were actually a couple of hills, tougher than what I looked on the map, and I looked at how much of a climb there was. There were a couple sections, but there was a couple sections were downhill. One in particular was nice, fairly steep. I think I ran like maybe low eights for a little bit on that. I just couldn't generate as much speed. And then the finish, you can't really tell where the finish is. There typically in a race there's like a banner or a big finish you could see ahead. I had no idea where that finish was. I just looked at my watch and I kept looking and it said 13. I didn't see a 13-mile sign, and it seemed like that last, at least on my watch, the last 0.28 or so took forever. And I knew that it was going to be close if I was going to get under 2 hours. And then when I hit 2 hours, I couldn't really still see the finish line, but in the distance I could see the tracking, the mat, the finishing mat. So I knew I was close. But 2 hours and 16 seconds. I was definitely disappointed, but at the same time I knew that I think things would have been a little different if I didn't have a windy day out there. But a lot of us struggle, and I'm sure there's others too that had a great race. So it was a really good experience. I got to see my wife afterwards, who kudos to her for coming out there with her race the next day, the marathon, and she got out there early and braved the conditions. She was cold, and I got to see her a couple times, which was good. That was it. And then the following day was her race, which it was like total opposite weather-wise. I think it was like 37 degrees, which is chilly, but virtually no wind. I think it was 6 to 8 maybe. I mean, just a beautiful day and sunny. And she actually had a tremendous race. 3 hours, 3 minutes, and 42 seconds. Not her fastest time. However, every 5K split, she just got faster and faster and faster. And I think at the halfway mark, she was at 133.50 some. So close to 134. And she took about 4 minutes off. She negative split by about 4 minutes. One of her best executed marathons. And she was passing people. She said, like with more than half to go, just like 6:30s, 6:40s, really strong day. So I was very proud of her. I'm glad she had a great race. But overall, it was a great experience. Our first time to the state of Pennsylvania, and so they had good food, pretty clean city. There's some homeless activity there in a large city, as you expected. The only thing that was a little different was the people that worked in the stores or the restaurants didn't really seem very friendly, and I don't know why that is. Not a knock against Philadelphia, but it's our observation. We've been to other cities, but it was like that, which was strange. But we went to the Reading market, Reading Terminal Market, if I'm saying that correctly, where they've got a lot of vendors and basically place to eat for breakfast and lunch. And I had a couple meals there. I did try a cheesesteak. I was a little disappointed by it. I ate at the Carmen's cheesesteak inside there. Everything is a little bit expensive as you expect, but I wanted to try cheesesteak. I know there's Geno's and Pat's and several others, but yeah, I had my Philly's cheesesteak. I had some desserts, coffee, had some salads. You know, had a pizza. So ate pretty good. And after that, Mondays when we left, our flight got delayed. We were supposed to leave at about 3:20 p.m. local time. It got pushed back to like 5 o'clock. And so it was a long day. We left our hotel at about 12, no, I'm sorry, yeah, 12:40 or so. And we got to the airport with about 3.5 hours before our flight left. And yeah, it was a long almost 5.5 hours. So we got in Monday night about 9:15 our time. Um, Worked on Tuesday, and then you know um, work Wednesday. So um, it's a short week with Thanksgiving, but I did get my run in earlier this morning. I did 3 miles. Just wanted to get the legs moving a little bit. I'm definitely still a little bit sore, but I think by the weekend I'll be ready to go. And we're not doing any like organized turkey trots as we normally do with the timing of this race being so close, but there are some runs that we're going to attend. Some friends are putting on like their own little non-competitive run, for donations as well. And then another one just basically on the trail, which I think I'm going to walk. I guess if we're doing two of those, I want to just not bang myself up and, hinder the recovery. So that's it. That's my assessment of the Philadelphia half marathon and our time there. I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving holiday for those of you who are celebrating it. And if you're taking part in any turkey trots tomorrow or this weekend, comment down below what race that is, and if you've got a goal time you're looking to hit, let me know, and certainly wish you the very best. Have a great race. Enjoy Thanksgiving with your family and friends, and thanks for making it all the way to the end of this video. Until the next one, take care. Bye.